Studio, and I'm going to work on something different today. I don't know about you, but sometimes life throws you curveballs and it feels like there's a great big storm that's coming. And how you choose to respond to that storm impacts the way that you experience it. As with all things in life, you can choose how you respond to a situation and try to make it a positive response so that it doesn't impact your mind in a negative way. Because when your mind is strong and focused and calm and seeing the positives and thinking things through in a positive way, then that influences how you experience your day. And it's not always easy to do, but we try. So I'm working today on a new collection of artwork, and it's all featuring trees as metaphors for a way of being or a way that you'd like to be, or some strengths or values or characteristics that you recognise that you have in yourself or you want in yourself. So there'll be a collection of trees, probably 5, and today I'm working on Willow. So in this painting, what I've done is I've taken a print of a painting that I made previously, and I'll tell you the secret. So the prints, I ordered them years ago, right? Okay, so a long time ago. They're probably about 9 years old, and they've been living under my bed ever since. No good there. I've no sort of desire to revisit that artwork anymore. And I'd paid money, I paid good money. There's giclée print, so it's a high quality print, printed onto a beautiful paper. The prints are amazing, absolutely gorgeous prints, but the subject matter is not aligned with where I am now and won't be again. And I can't just throw things away. I can't get rid of them. I'll show you. They come in. They come beautifully mounted and backed. So this has got quite a hard board back to it, and then the front is this lovely mount or mat if you're in the States, and the print fitted in there. So I wasn't about to just get rid of this. I mean, they cost me £25 each just to make, and that was a long time ago. So that's why prints are expensive. So I've taken that, I've stuck it on my easel, and I'm now using a selection of these handmade papers. So this one's an Indian paper, and it's got some lovely barky kind of texture to it, which I really love. And then I've also got some of these pieces. This is handmade paper, made and pressed in India. It's all fair trade. I've checked all of that out. So it's got the organic, environmental, ethical credentials that are important for me in the work that I do. And it's got these lovely sort of burned edges to it as well. And when you tear the paper, it creates these gorgeous, natural torn edges. So I've been using some of that. Then there's some of these other papers, like this one. Now you can see this one's got, it's got grain, it's got texture to it. This one's actually got a leaf vein embedded in it if I hold it up to the light. So it has texture, and it's got these lovely, soft, feathery edges to it when you tear it, which is gorgeous. So these are all handmade, so I've been using some of that. And then on this particular painting, the Willow, that I'm going to work on shortly, I've covered the print in this amazing Indian handmade paper. It's gorgeous green, and it's actually got bits of plant, if you can see that. It's actually got bits of plant embedded in the paper, which is very exciting as a texture. So put that to one side. So I'm going to now show you the actual painting. So I'm going to twizzle the camera around so that you can see what I'm working on. Hopefully you can see that okay. I'm trying to stick it down to the board and it doesn't want to stick. It keeps coming away. But I don't want to press too hard with the paper because when you take it off, it'll rip the paper. So I've got to be very careful. Excuse me. Oh dear. Coffee's gone down the wrong hole. So just turn it around so I can speak to you rather than at the corner of the camera. So, oh dear. What I want to do here is I'm going to add some more sagey greens. I'm going to use a sponge. Again, this is an old kitchen sponge, so I keep it when it goes beyond being useful in the kitchen. Wash it, dry it out, and then I use it in my artwork until it's completely knackered, and then it might go in the bin or it might get converted into something else. So I'm going to use the sponge technique, and the reason that I'm going for a nice sage colour on here is because sage is a popular colour. So I'll be honest with you, this collection is going to be designed for me to reach new people that don't know about my artwork yet. And it's going to be a really good offer where you can get a free print of the artwork and you just pay a small amount of postage. And then that brings you into my world and you get this free print in return. So in order for that to work and reach a good number of people, the idea is, I've been on an art marketing course, so I'm sort of testing and learning all of this out. You have to do your research. So I've done a bit of research on the colours and the trends for 2026. And what do they call it? They call it biophilic, where you include elements of nature, which is, my work is all about nature, so that's easy. But the colour trends tend to be very much sages, oats, stone colours, terracottas, clay colours, all of those subtle, natural colour combinations. And they're very much on trend again this year, according to all of the research that I've done on the Tinterweb. So I'm going to include a bit of sage on this particular painting now. So I'm going to mix up some colours. So I'm just going to use, I'm using acrylic for this painting, and I'm going to mix up a bit of white and a bit of green as well. And I'm not sure exactly how well this colour's going to go, but I've got my brush here and I'm just blending the colour together to make a sage. So that's the colour I've got. So we'll see how that turns out. So I'm just going to get the sponge and dip the sponge in that colour, and then see what I think to the colour. Yeah, I think that's quite nice. The reason I'm using the sponge is because I like the sort of the natural textures that it adds. I'm actually going to work a little bit more into this one with the brush to start with. It's a bit of an experiment. It might go wrong and I might have to just start again, but I just want there to feel like there's some spots of this beautiful sage green, which happens to be a popular kitchen cabinet colour. I've seen it on lots of kitchens. Been looking at kitchens myself recently. Whether I'll be able to afford a new kitchen or not is an entirely different matter, given the huge amount of vehicle bills that we've got. So I'm just going to get that into the corner there. That's a really nice green. Because the paper has got some texture to it, and with the recycled and handmade paper that I've attached to the print, there's a texture there. And when you very lightly brush across the paper, very lightly, where the paper comes up, the brush just touches across that part of the paper, and it gives you this lovely organic feel to it. Just going to go have a quick look at the comments. So Emma, what else? How do you mean, Emma? Pop in the comments what you mean by what else. What's next, or what are the trends? I'm just looking at another comment. Culture Bus, what's the idea for this painting? So the idea, I'll just twizzle this around so I can speak to you. I don't like speaking when I can't see. So the idea behind this painting is I'm going to paint a willow tree on this painting, just in gold outline. And the willow is the metaphor in my new art collection of about 5. It's a metaphor for when storms come at you, you know, the winter storms come our way, and I'm talking here about sort of mental and physical curveballs that life throws at you. The willow bends and flexes in the storm, so it doesn't get pushed over by what's coming at it. It just bends and then bounces back again. And I feel that that's like a really good metaphor for this particular piece of artwork. So just twizzle the camera around. So that's like the idea behind what I'm painting here. And I'm also using these lovely biophilic colour palettes that all of the interior designers are talking about and saying that they're still strong for 2026. And these brush strokes that I'm using I'm cross-hatching it because I'm wanting to give the impression of woven fabric, like a linen. Not sure how well it's going to work out, really. It's a bit of an experiment. I've also used gold leaf in this painting as well. I'm going to come across here with a bit more of the sage. And it's picking up the textures there. So I'm going to mix up quite a good bit more of this colour now, because the sponge is a thirsty beast, and it will take up it'll take up quite a lot of the paint. So I'm just dipping the sponge into the paint and then just adding some spongy spots to the painting. And it's about giving it a bit of life and a bit of movement. That's nice. That looks quite vintagey. Oh yeah, I like that. I like the circular movements here. So I'm just going to go up here and do the same around here, because that's really picking up the texture. This reminds me of it reminds me of like the shabby chic kind of effect. Do you think? Maybe like sort of a French furniture effect. So maybe that's just me. Now I don't want to go too light in the centre, because I want the gold of the willow that I'm painting to stand out against the background. So I'm going to mix up some more of my paint. Another reason I use acrylic, or I'm using acrylic for this particular set of paintings, is it dries really fast, which normally I don't like. I don't like paint that dries really fast, because I feel rushed. I feel like I'm being rushed to complete the painting. But here, it's handy because I want it to be really dry and ready, so I can go in with the gold, going for gold, and start to work on the actual willow itself. I might do some more of that in a second. I'm not entirely sure yet. I think I'm going to come along with a slightly different green colour along the top here. Just going to read the comments. Culture Bus says, very cool, the same concept applied to tolerances in buildings designed to move and sway. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to point then, just getting excited. That's exactly it. So the structure and the way that it's built, I mean, I'm not an architect, I've no idea how they do some of these things, but it's rather than be rigid and then a big gust of wind could just break it because it's brittle, it actually does flex. And I think some of these really tall buildings do move quite a way in the wind. I could not be at the top of one of those. Oh gosh, thought of that makes me go all funny thinking about, oh no. No, I very much prefer my feet on the ground. I'm not much for these high-rise things at all. But yeah, the idea, you're right, it's to relieve the stress within the material so that they bend and they don't break. So yeah, that's the willow metaphor. Well, thanks for your help on this, guys. This is really helpful. So I'm using the green again. Oh, this is a really nice green. This is lovely. Look at this green. So this is a slightly darker green. And it's using all the same green. I'm basically using a pure green, and I'm just adding different amounts of white to it, to green. So the white to green ratio I'm changing. And that makes for a coherent composition. Oh, that's lovely. That's a really nice green. I'm going to come down here with some of that green as well. Already it feels like a relaxing, serene painting. And it's actually quite relaxing to do. I'm going to go for just a slightly bit more green. And then I'm going to start work on the gold of the willow. Because that's the fun part. Well, it's all fun, but I do enjoy applying gold work. So this is more impressionistic than I would otherwise do in my artwork. I'm normally fantasy, so fantasy but realism fantasy. In fact, I'll show you. So this is one of my sculptures. So whilst the subject matter is fantasy, this is a woodland man, there's realism to it. So he's got human features, and his limbs are all in proportion, and he's all made of reclaimed bits and pieces. These are acorns I collected locally. So that's the genre that I create in normally. So I'm going a little bit outside of my normal painting style here, which is fun. It's fun. It's good to mix things up a little bit, isn't it? It's good to experiment, because if you don't try new things, you don't learn and grow. And how do you know that you might actually like these new things? How I know where to apply the colour, I don't actually know. I work intuitively, so I work where it feels right to me for the colour to go. Oh, that's nice, having some green coming over here. I might actually brush across some of this gold leaf here at the bottom as well. Just mix the green, a bit of green colour in. Further down. And I'm going to come over here as well with some of this darker green. That's such a nice colour. I'd quite like this on my wall actually at home. Oops, I've just gone over the edge there. Easily remedied though, with a bit of white acrylic. I can tackle that later. I really do enjoy how the textured paper, where I've got like these creases and ripples from the way that I've attached the paper, how you get the paint itself just touches the tops. Just sort of highlights it, makes it stand out. So I'm just giving at the bottom some upward strokes, just as like an impression of grass, which would be at the base of the tree. And I'm going to stop there because I want to show you. I want to show you the next part of it. So for the next part, to create the actual trunk and branches of the willow, I'm going to be using some liquid chrome, which is like a permanent marker paint. So to give it a good old shake, get the paint going. And now I'm going to draw freehand, because or it could go horribly wrong. I'm going to draw freehand with this colour. So a few depressions of the pen tip just makes the paint flow. And I'm now going to map out roughly where I want the willow to come. So I'm starting at the top because I want the willow to be against the darker green because it will show up better. So that's going to need, this will be a thick branch coming down here. And it's going to meet the trunk. And I want a slightly crooked trunk. And then bring my willow tree trunk down here. And then here, quite an upright branch. And bring that into the base there. So before I colour everything in with the chrome, I want to make sure that I've got my branches in the right place. So that's a thick one. We're going to branch off, literally, pun intended there, branch off here, and we'll have some more of these curved, I don't know, they're little branches, aren't they? So there's a rough shape of the willow tree here now. And then I'm going to colour in the trunk of the willow. Now I've chosen this lovely chrome because when you look at it in different lights, it looks different. So I don't know if it was going to work with this camera if I move it. No, maybe not. So when you look at it from different aspects, as the light catches the chrome, you get slightly different hues of the gold. So sometimes it's like really, really gold and highly reflective, and you can see the shine. And then other times, it's like matte and darker, and I think that's going to be really nice, a really nice feel to the artwork on the wall. So as you move around your room, the artwork changes slightly, depending on the angle that you're standing, and I think that's like a really nice theme to go with the artwork. I did think about whether to use gold leaf for this, but I wouldn't be able to get the shape of the tree right. So I've gone with this pen. So I'm just going to read the comments, just give the pen a rest, give it a chance to recharge. Otherwise they dry out, so you need to keep giving it a shake every now and then. So I'm just reading comments again. So Culture Bus said, how much of an idea of the finished piece do you have in mind before you start? Do you experiment as you go on, or is everything fairly intentional? To be honest, this piece is a complete and utter whatever comes out of my head. I've got a rough idea of the background, so I knew what papers I wanted to use. I knew I wanted the natural textures, the handmade papers, and I knew for this piece I wanted to use a colour palette of natural muted greens. So I knew that, and I knew that I wanted to use a good nice chromy gold, a nice reflective gold, to create the tree, and I wanted it to be a silhouette. So not a realistic tree with all the leaves and all the detail, but a silhouette in gold. But the rest of how it flows is kind of dictated by the materials. It depends how the paper was torn or how it attaches and where the ridges are, as to how it sort of comes about. So it's definitely an intuitive painting. So I'm just going to finish the trunk bit down here. And just give a hint coming down here of a riverbed. Less is more, so I have to stop. I've got to be careful not to fiddle here. So I'm going to test. I'm going to test doing some basic willow leaf shapes. So the willow leaf comes down, it sort of crisscrosses down and very gently flows down. So I'm just going to have a go at seeing how well this pen captures that. The answer is quite nicely, actually. I think I need to make them a bit longer. Yeah, definitely need to make them a bit longer. Okay, so that's the first stage of this painting. So I'm going to work on the rest a little bit later on, and I think it's time for some lunch now. I don't know what time it is where you all are watching, but it's about, well, it's 12:53 here in cold, grey, overcast England. So I'm going to finish these branches and have a bit more of an experiment with the willow leaf shape. So if you've enjoyed this and you'd like to see what it looks like when it's finished, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also feel free to follow me on any of my social medias. If you just pop in Claire Valentine Artist, everything comes up. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. And I keep everyone updated through all of my social media channels. I also have a newsletter as well, which is an email that comes out about once a week. And that explains some behind the scenes stuff, and has usually got some nice little offers and competitions. I run a competition every 3 months. So it's all very exciting. There's lots to get involved in. And if you'd like to know more about that, then drop a comment and I'll send you the link as to how you can subscribe up to the email. Right, I'm going to go and get some lunch and then come back and finish these leaves. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and also your comments and your support. That's really, really helpful. Obviously got some very clever minds that have joined me today, so that's beautiful. So have a lovely afternoon, and thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye for now.